In this video, we carry on the on-prem lab build series on a Ryzen 7 5700G system. This is part 3, and this will be a video on how to set up 3 versions of Linux in a VM. We will use PopOS, Ubuntu, Mint Cinnamon VM. Let's get started. You can download the ISOs from the System76 site for PopOS. You click download and you can download it in. You'll see it downloaded in your download folder. You can go to Ubuntu and grab the Ubuntu desktop version. You click download and then you go to Linux Mint and as well you download. So in the sake of time saving, I have all 3 downloaded. Now let's start making the VMs. We open up Vmware Workstation and we say new VM. Install the operating system later, Linux, and we'll base it on Ubuntu because I believe all 3 of these are Ubuntu based. So we'll click next, and this one we will call PopOS. We'll leave the defaults. And now next VM, we will do Ubuntu or Ubuntu. Never know what it's called. Ubuntu. A lot of people name it differently. Okay, again, you follow through the defaults. And if you want to adjust the disk sizes, you can as well. Another new VM. Custom, next. Install the OS later. Next. Ubuntu. And this one we will call Mint. Mint Cinnamon. Because when you download Mint, finish this first. Go. So we just created 3 VM. If you go to Mint, you'll notice when you download it, you get to choose what edition. Cinnamon is the one I've chose. This is the more modern, innovative. This here is robust, traditional. There's different versions you can use. This seems to be the popular one at the moment, so that's why I chose that one. Now we want to go to each one of them and set it up so it can install from the CD. So we need to choose CD DVD and use ISO image, and we want to browse to our desktop or wherever you have it downloaded. And this one is PopOS. Click OK. And then we go to Ubuntu or Ubuntu. Again, CD DVD, choose ISO, browse. Want to go to desktop or downloads folder or wherever you've downloaded it. Choose the Ubuntu one. And Mint Cinnamon, we'll do this as well. So browse, desktop, and Linux Mint. So now we've attached the ISOs, so this is equivalent to being a physical machine. We plugged in the CD, or in this case USB would be. So now we can right click or just highlight it, power it on. Go to Ubuntu, power on, and Cinnamon, power on. So we're going to run these all at once. And we notice when you first open PopOS, it's going to boot up to the live CD, they call it. As well, Ubuntu will. And Mint Cinnamon is doing the same thing. So they will all do very similar things. And these are just base installs we're going to do. We're not going to get professionally into setting up partitions or anything like that. Just to get it installed to play with it. So when you first open up PopOS, it chooses the language. And you could choose wherever you want to install it from. Keyboard. Now, it's funny, when you choose Canada, it always goes to French Canada. So choose a US keyboard. Default. Next, and let's do clean install. Choose the disk it's going to be on. And now user, let's use this. And it will ask a password. Okay, match password, and you could just carry on, say don't encrypt. It's just a VM for testing, so we're going to do that. Let's go over to Ubuntu and see what it says. Let's install. Same thing, leave the defaults, continue. And now it says, do you want to do updates? Let's let it run. Click continue. Or wait for that to respond. Let's go to Mint Cinnamon. Now Mint Cinnamon boots up right into a live CD. So now what you want to do is you want to click install. This will boot up the installer. Let's go back to Ubuntu. Click install now, because now you chose the disk. Click continue. And I'm in Hamilton, so let's see if it picks me. Go. And now it wants my name. Jumping on my keyboard here. I'm not using any heavy passwords for this. It's just a demo machine. And so we will let this install. Go back to Pop. Pop is installing. Let's go to Mint. And Mint is now going through the startup as well. Use default. And I'll just say continue. And while that's doing that, we'll go back. Okay. So this is finished now. We can click restart device. If you ever get locked into your screen, you just hit your Control Alt keys. Go to Ubuntu. It's almost finished. Go to Mint Cinnamon. Cinnamon is asking now for the disk. So you click install. We're doing 3 installs at once here, so we're going to see a very similar set of menus. Not sure why it says I on Terra, but I'll take it. Continue. And let that install. So PopOS is now done. This is now doing its updates. And Cinnamon is installing. So now we're in PopOS. Let's go full screen. And let's okay. Building the profile. Now you notice how it's small screen here. What we need to do is we need to install VM tools to give this thing to make it understand the graphics card. However, before we do that, it's going through a series of questions now because you first log in. So let's say next. We want to confirm the keyboard. We have, let's go dock edge to edge. And we want to leave that alone. Next. And we'll say next. Next. Privacy. Now, bring it back to full screen for a second. So this is a privacy thing just like Windows does, right? So if you want to hide your location services, you can. If you want to allow it, you can. We'll just leave it as default for now. And now it's asking me where I am. As the other 2 installs, they actually ask before the reboot. We want to skip the login. This is if you have any Google accounts or anything, you could skip the logins and do them later. And now we're done. So now we will address the full screen issue here in a second. Let's go back to Ubuntu. Ubuntu is almost done, and Mint Cinnamon is almost done as well. So what we need to do to make this full screen, as you see, it's a small screen. We need to install the VM tools. So we need to right click on here, say install VM tools. Now the VM tools will pop up, and it shows here. Now the problem is we can't just run this file. So what we need to do is we need to just find out about the install command to run this in a Linux machine. So what we need to do is we need to find out where these commands are. So what we need to do is copy this to the desktop, copy to, right click. Let's go back here, cancel, yeah, cancel. So we want to right click, copy to, and now we want to choose desktop, select, and then close this. Now we have this on the desktop. Now we want to extract here, and now we have this distribute file. Now we want to pull up command line, the terminal command, which is a command line. Let's go full screen to see this. So now that we have this, let's make it a smaller window if we can. Okay, not, let's just move that. There you go. So we want to go to the desktop folder. So we do ls, and we type cd, type de, and then hit the tab, and that puts us on the desktop. So now we see the VM tools distrib. What we need to do is we need to go into that folder. So cd, vm, hit tab, and now we're in that directory. So ls, now we need to see that VMware install PL. So highlight that, copy, and down here we want to type sudo, and then period, / paste, and then hit enter, and then do your password, and then just hit enter for all the choices. Now what this is going to do, install all the drivers to make everything work. We're done this now, so we can click type exit, and we can now take these and delete them. And now you have a full screen version of PopOS running with internet ready to go. So there you go. So that's PopOS. Get all full screen here. Let's go to Ubuntu and see what's happening here. So Ubuntu is ready. Let's reboot. Let's see if Mint Linux is done. And we can do that. So let's restart. So we could stay full screen if we want. And then this is asking remove the CD, the install media, right? So when you hit enter, it's not going to reboot into it. Let's go back. Let's see if Ubuntu is asking the same thing. It is. So let's hit that. So as you can see, the both install methods seem to be very similar. PopOS is a little different. Now PopOS is talking about updates here. So let's click on here. Go installed. Checking for updates. And there's about 452 megabytes worth of updates. All these items need to be updated. So let's click update all. And let that run. Highlight up top here. Let's go over to Ubuntu and see if Ubuntu is ready. Let's log in. See how it's full screen already? So it's more VM aware. So it's instantly available. Let's log on. And now we've achieved our goal of installing Ubuntu and PopOS so far. Now this has a similar screen. It wants to install, if you log into Google or any one of the platforms, we'll say skip. We'll skip this live patch, and we'll say no, don't send information. And privacy, we'll leave it alone for now. You can always change it later. And let's stop. So now, as with Windows, they all have their own little install stores. Right? Ubuntu software here. So it's downloading the software catalog. That's the little store for Ubuntu. In PopOS, it also has a store, right? Which is right here. Go home here. When you click this little pop shop, this is all the software you can install. So if you want to install Steam, play games. You can do all kinds of things within here now. You can do any type of applications you're looking for. It's very robust. It's a way of getting things done. I use OBS Studio, for instance. So you can do OBS Studio and install it, and it will start installing OBS Studio. Right. We want to go back to Ubuntu. Ubuntu shows you again. If you want to do OBS Studio, you can do here as well. Type OBS. It'll look for OBS. And then you see there is updates here, and there's OBS Studio. So let's go to the updates, and let's update again. It's going to ask you for your password. The one thing with Linux you do want to do when you first install it is always take the latest updates. So let's go out and see if Mint Linux is ready to go, which it is. So let's do this. Log in. While we're waiting for the profile to build, we just look here. It's all done here. Ubuntu is almost done installing the updates. And Mint is ready to go. So we just want to kill this so it doesn't come up every single time. And we can now go to Firefox down here. It's a different little icon. And we can go to Google. As you see, we have full internet access automatically. So now what we can do is find out, do we have a store in Linux Mint? It's almost like a start button here. So there's your software manager, like a store. So the first time you load it, it's going to build its cache, build all the software you can find from there, and just carry on. So there you go. So there's the exact same thing. If we want to do OBS again, it goes out, it finds OBS Studio. Once it finds out where the install packages are, there you go. You click install. We say continue. Let's go back to the other. So this should already be done, right? Let's close this. Let's go to the applications, and OBS Studio is there. So in a VM, I can do OBS Studio, and I could start doing all kinds of things with it as I need. This is just an example of software you can install. We can kill that search. Let's go to installed, and it's still downloading some updates, so let's let that run. But as you see, there is an Office package available built into Linux. So if you need Office, you don't need to have Microsoft Office now. You can use this LibreOffice. It's free. There's also a bunch of other things in here as well, like Calendar, just like Windows comes with. So you have a lot of tools. You can also use Ubuntu, same idea. Updates are downloading. Right, they're all done now. We can close this. And update software has been found. Do you want to install it now? Yes. So it will run an installer. Let's let that continue. This is installing OBS. So at this point, we've met our objective. The objective of installing 3 OSs in a few minutes. We've installed PopOS. We've installed Ubuntu or Ubuntu and Mint Cinnamon VM. All 3 VMs are running. Now we have Linux VMs in our lab, and now they're downloading updates. As you can see, they all work and not a problem with them. So please like, subscribe, add any comments below what you'd like to see in the next videos, and we'll try and do these videos as quick as possible rather than half-an-hour runs. And we'll see if we can actually get a lot more video content done sooner than later, and try and satisfy anything you're looking to learn. So thank you very much for watching. See you next time.